Brother Oleksandr Usyk just went on Twitter and asked the entire internet Rico Verhoeven. And the internet absolutely destroyed him. Like, completely. Thousands of replies, all of them roasting him, all of them saying the same thing. And instead of staying quiet, instead of letting the controversy die down, Usyk doubled down. And what he said about the rematch has Rico's entire camp furious right now. Stay with me, because by the time we get to what Peter Fury said live on DAZN, and what the judges' scorecards actually reveal, this story is going to hit completely different. Here's where it gets crazy. Alright bro, let's build this from the ground up because there are layers to this story that most people are completely missing. Saturday night, Pyramids of Giza, Egypt. The Glory in Giza event. Oleksandr Usyk, undefeated, 25 wins, beat Anthony Joshua twice, beat Tyson Fury twice. Pound for pound, the best heavyweight boxer on the planet, defends his WBC, WBA, and Ring Magazine titles against Rico Verhoeven, a kickboxer. 12 years as undisputed Glory heavyweight champion, 66 wins in kickboxing, but a man with exactly one professional boxing match on his record walking into a world title fight. The whole world expected a comfortable Usyk win. Most analysts gave Rico no realistic chance. Peter Fury, Tyson's uncle, Rico's trainer, even admitted beforehand that Rico would have to pull off the biggest heavyweight upset in history to win. That is what his own corner was saying publicly going in. No cap, nobody predicted what actually unfolded over 11 rounds. Rico came in with a complete game plan. High guard, constant pressure, double jab, walking Usyk down using every pound of his 25-pound weight advantage. And Usyk, the most technically gifted heavyweight of his generation, looked slow, flat, and genuinely surprised from the opening bell. The man with the better footwork, the better timing, the better ring IQ, was being outworked by a kickboxer in his second boxing match. Round after round, Rico controlled the pace. The open scoring in the venue had the fight dead even after 8 rounds. Multiple observers had it 7-3 for Verhoeven going into round 11. This was not a close fight being scored generously for the underdog. This was a man who showed up, prepared properly, and was legitimately beating the best heavyweight boxer alive. And then, round 11 happened, and everything fell apart. Wait for it, because this sequence is the one that broke the internet in half. With 10 seconds remaining in round 11, Usyk finally finds his right uppercut. It lands clean. Rico goes down for the first time all night. The crowd erupts. Usyk smells blood. Now here is where it gets interesting. The referee pauses the action after Rico beats the count to let him reinsert his mouthguard, which gives Rico valuable seconds to recover. But it also gives Usyk time to reset and zero in. Fight restarts. Usyk piles on the punches. Rico is hurt, no question. His legs are unsteady. He is backed into the corner, but his hands are up. He is covering. He is still defending. And with 1 second, one literal second, remaining on the clock, referee Mark Lyson steps in and waves it off. The 3 judges on duty, Manuel Oliver Palomo and Fabian Guggenheim, both had the fight even at 95 apiece after 10 rounds. Pasquale Procopio had Rico ahead 96-94, meaning Rico was leading on 1 card, even on 2, going into that final sequence. And MMA Mania's breakdown makes the point that even with Usyk's knockdown making round 11 a 10-8 round, which would have swung the card significantly in his favor, Rico was still owed the right to fight it out in round 12. Instead, fight over. Usyk retains. And what happens next is where this whole story escalates beyond just a bad stoppage. Bro, the reaction to this fight might be even bigger than the fight itself. Peter Fury, Rico's trainer, the man in his corner for every round of this, goes on DAZN straight after and says the stoppage was early. His own assessment? Rico was tired. He was fatigued. It was the 11th round. But the stoppage was still premature. That is the man closest to Rico acknowledging his fighter was hurt while still calling the finish wrong. That nuance is important. Rico himself goes to the post-fight press conference and delivers the classiest response of anyone involved. I thought it was an early stoppage, but in the end, it's not up to me. I believe the referee knows we were almost at the end of the round. He could have let me go out on my shield or let the bell go. That's what I thought. But like I said, it's not up to me, and I was already super thankful for the opportunity. No cap, that response is doing more damage to Usyk's reputation than any angry rant could have. Because Rico is being so reasonable, so measured, so dignified, that anyone reading it immediately thinks, this man got robbed and he is being a gentleman about it. Then Usyk does something nobody expected. Instead of staying quiet and letting the controversy cool down, he jumps on Twitter and invites the internet to tell him what they thought of the fight. Writes, "What did you think of the fight? Share your thoughts in the comments. I'd be interested to read them." Bro, he asked, and the internet answered. The replies turned into a full-scale roast session. You were about to lose and got bailed out. Rematch needed. If Rico isn't your next fight, all respect is gone. You got beat and cheated. You know in your heart what happened. That referee was a disgrace. If I were you, I would have called him out yourself. Thousands of replies, all saying the same thing. Usyk walked into that himself. No cap, that is one of the worst social media decisions a champion has made after a controversial fight in recent memory.
Yeah, let's be honest, Usyk was losing that fight. There's no two ways about it, innit? The ref jumps in, yeah, to save the reputation of boxing. I don't care what anyone says, yeah, I'm a boxer myself, so if anything, I'd be biased. That fight never should have been stopped. Never in a million years. It's just like Froch versus Groves 1, but even worse than that. Let a man go out on his shield, yeah, especially in a world title fight, and you're calling it there. It was the end of the fucking round. Do you know what I mean? I know people saying, oh, he'd probably would have stopped in the next round after, but you don't know that. He could grab an hold, yeah, and just survive for the next round. He might have recovered, you know what I mean? Or he might have come back out a little bit wobbly still, but we'll never know now. Now, don't get me wrong, yeah, like the fight with Fury and Ngannou, obviously Usyk probably slightly overlooked him, but it doesn't look good for boxing, this, does it? But I reckon, yeah, just like Ngannou got flatlined by AJ, I think whoever Rico fights next, he'll get stopped by as well, because he's not technically good at boxing, but he does bring an awkward style. But the next person who boxes him will look at obviously that fight and go, I can't underestimate him, and they'll go, right, we've seen what he can do now, so they'll just figure him out, I reckon. What a performance by Rico. I mean, only his second professional boxing fight. The last one he had was over 10 years ago. He deserves every bit of credit in the world for the performance that he put on. But let me know in the comments, do we think maybe Usyk's growing old overnight, or is it just, you think he's overlooked him a bit, you know what I mean, with just being a kickboxer? Or do you think maybe Usyk, it's time to retire?
Here is where the story takes the turn that nobody saw coming. And this is the detail from the MMA Mania breakdown that is doing the most damage right now. Because while everyone is debating the stoppage and the scorecards, MMA Mania raises the uncomfortable question that Rico's own camp has been quietly sitting with since the fight ended. Would Rico have the same success in a rematch? Think about that for a second, because here is the reality that cuts both ways. Yes, Rico outboxed Usyk for 10 rounds. Yes, he was winning on the scorecards. Yes, he deserved the chance to finish it in round 12. All of that is true. But here is also true. Usyk now has 11 rounds of Rico Verhoeven on film. He knows the high guard. He knows the pressure game. He knows the double jab and the right hand. He knows how Rico moves, how he times his punches, how he closes distance. The element of surprise, which was arguably Rico's greatest weapon on Saturday night, is completely gone. And the appeal? MMA Mania points out that as we have seen in combat sports before, getting a result overturned is almost impossible regardless of how bad the stoppage was. The machinery of the sport almost never reverses a decision. So Rico's formal appeal, while completely justified based on the footage, is unlikely to change the official record. Which means the only real path to justice for Rico Verhoeven is the rematch. And that is exactly where Usyk's position becomes the most controversial part of this whole saga. Because with Agit Kabayel calling him out on the night itself, and Usyk apparently open to that mandatory defense, the rematch with Rico is not guaranteed. The man who arguably beat Usyk for 10 rounds might not even get his shot at making it right. And when fans pushed Usyk on this in those Twitter replies, demanding the rematch, saying all respect is gone if Rico is not next, Usyk's response was essentially to defend the win. To say he boxed. To say his right uppercut landed. Which the internet read as, I already won, move on. Alright bro, here is where I actually land on all of this, and I want you to fight me in the comments. The stoppage was wrong. That is not even debatable at this point. The judges, the commentators, Peter Fury, Rico himself, Derek Chisora, Anthony Joshua, Francis Ngannou, Tony Bellew, everyone in combat sports with credibility is saying the same thing. 1 second on the clock. Still defending. Should not have been stopped. But here is the question that actually matters going forward. If Rico gets his rematch, and he deserves it, no cap, does he win? My honest take, no. And here is why. Usyk is one of the greatest fight studiers in the history of the heavyweight division. He went into the first fight underestimating Rico and still found the finish when it mattered. A fully prepared, fully focused Usyk who has watched every second of those 11 rounds on film is going to look completely different. He is going to close the angles that Rico exploited. He is going to time the right hand that Rico kept landing. He is going to neutralize the pressure game that dominated the early rounds. Rico's style worked because Usyk did not respect it. The second time around, Usyk will respect it from the opening bell. And that changes everything.
But here's the thing, none of that matters right now. Because whether Usyk wins the rematch cleanly or not, Rico Verhoeven still deserves the opportunity to find out. And boxing owes him that. Not as a favor, not as a consolation prize, as a basic requirement of sporting integrity after what happened in Egypt. The appeal will probably go nowhere. The official record will probably never change. But the rematch? That is the one thing boxing can actually do right here. And if Usyk refuses it, if he moves on to Caballel and leaves Rico without his shot, then every single reply in that Twitter thread was right. Usyk asked the internet what they thought. The internet told him. The question now is whether he is actually listening. Drop your rematch prediction in the comments. Does Rico win the second fight? Or does Usyk solve him now that the element of surprise is gone?